And today we're going to be doing Unit 9, Notes 15. So we're going to be talking about synthetic division. So here's what synthetic division is. Synthetic division is when you can do polynomials like this. Okay, it's going to be an easier way of doing long division. So easier way of long division. Okay, and I'm just going to abbreviate that. Okay, now here are some things you have to look for. In order to use synthetic division, you have to have 1x to the first power for the divisor. So if you notice, here we have 1x to the 1 power on that term right there. So that means we can use synthetic division. So this right here is the most important part. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at synthetic division. So here's how you do synthetic division. What you're going to do first is check that you have 1x to the first power, which we do for the divisor here. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take the opposite of the constant. So since it's plus 3, I'm going to put minus 3, and I'm going to put it in a little half box like that. And then what I'm going to do is write out each of the coefficients. Now remember, if there's no coefficient with the number, it's not 0, it's 1. So we basically have a 1 there, a 5, and a 6. So now I just wrote out all my coefficients as well as my constant. So here's how long division works. First thing you're going to do is just drop the 1 down here. So I dropped the 1 down there. Then I'm going to take 1 times what's in the box, which is negative 3. So 1 times negative 3, which is negative 3. And then add down the columns. 5 minus 3 is 2. 2 times negative 3 is going to give me negative 6, and then I add down the columns and I get 0. So here's how it works. Your last number is always your remainder, your second number is your constant, and your third number is your x term. So when I write this out, this is going to be 1x plus 2. That's what your answer is divided out, but we don't need to write the 1x. So it's really just x plus 2. So that's all it is. This is your answer. That's all you have to do. That's why synthetic division is so great. But again, you have to have 1x to the first power in order to be able to use it. So let's take a look at number 2. So we're going to put in a negative 5 in the box because that's the opposite of the number in there. And then I have 1, 9, and 20. So now let's go ahead and let's use some synthetic division. So I'm going to drop the 1 down. 1 times negative 5 is negative 5. Then I add down the columns. 9 plus negative 5 is 4. 4 times negative 5 is negative 20. And then add down the columns and you get 0. So my remainder is 0, my constant is here, and my x term is here. Remember that we don't have to write out 1x, so I'm just going to write that as x plus 4. So when you divide that polynomial by x plus 5, you end up getting x plus 4. And that's it. Let's now take a look at number 2. Okay, so I notice again that it's being divided by 1x to the first. I need that in order to use synthetic division. Well, the opposite of negative 3 is positive 3. And then I'm going to write out my coefficients. So with the squared term is 1, and then I have 4, and then I have negative 22. So I can take the 1 and drop it down. 1 times 3 is 3. 4 plus 3 is 7. 7 times 3 is 21. Negative 22 plus 21 is 1. So this time I do end up with a remainder. So I have my x term, which I'm just going to write as x because I do not need to write the 1 out in front. You can if you want to, though. My constant is 7. So now for my remainder, I'm going to take 1, and I'm going to divide it by what my original divisor was, this guy right here, this x minus 3. So I'm going to do x minus 3 right here. So that right there is your final answer for number 3. So let's take a look at number 4. Again, it's the same thing, even though it's not written out the same way. So I'm still going to put my negative 3 in the corner and then write out my coefficients. So I'm going to take the 1 and drop it down. 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. 7 plus negative 3 is 4. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. 12 plus negative 12 is 0. So in this case, I get a remainder of 0. Here's my constant. Here's my x term. So I end up getting x plus 4, and then there's a remainder of 0. So that's my final answer. Okay. Let's take a look at number 5. So number 5 is the same thing even though we have a cube term now. It'll still work out the same. So I'm going to put the opposite of my divisor constant in the box. Then each of the coefficients, again, just like long division, I'm checking that we don't skip any exponents because then I have to put in 0 as a placeholder. So I'm going to take this 2 and drop it down. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. 3 plus negative 6 is negative 3. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. Negative 4 plus 9 is positive 5. 5 times negative 3 is negative 15. Add those together and you get a remainder of 0. Here's my constant, here's my x. Now this one is actually going to represent my x squared term. So that's the coefficient to my x squared term. So then I get 2x squared plus x, minus 3x. 2x squared minus 3x plus 5. And then my remainder is 0. So that means that this right here is my final answer. Okay, so next let's take a look at number 6. So my opposite is going to be negative 4 here. And then I need to put my coefficients in. So I have 3, 4, negative 2, and negative 1. So let's go ahead and let's put that in. So we're going to take this 3 and drop it down. 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. 4 times negative 12 is negative 8. Negative 8 times negative 4 is positive 32. Negative 2 plus 32 is positive 30. 30 times negative 4 is negative 120. And then that's negative 121 as I run out of space. So that's my remainder, my constant, my x, and my x squared. So 3 goes with my x squared, so I have 3x squared. Negative 8 goes with my x, so I have negative 8x. And then 30 is my constant. Then for my remainder, it's negative, so I'm subtracting off my remainder. My remainder is 121. So I'm taking that number and dividing it by x plus 4. So this right here is my final answer for number 6. All right, let's take a look at number 7. So for number 7, we have negative 2 in the box here. And then going across, I notice that we skip our squared term. So I have 6 for x to the 4th, 15 for x cubed. Then we skip x squared. So I'm going to put 0 in for that coefficient as a placeholder. And then I have negative 28 and negative 6. So now I'm ready to use synthetic division. So I drop the first one down. 6 times negative 2 is negative 12. 15 plus negative 12 is 3. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. 0 plus negative 6 is negative 6. Negative 6 times negative 2 is a positive 12. Negative 28 plus 12 is negative 16. Negative 16 times negative 2 is 32. And then negative 6 plus 32 is 26. So here's our remainder, our constant, our x squared, and now 6 is going to be our x cubed function. So I'm going to have 6x cubed plus 3x squared minus 6x minus 16 plus 26, and then we're going to take that 26 and we're going to divide it by x plus 2. So that's our final answer for number 7. Let's take a look at number 8. So for number 8, it looks like we're skipping our x to the 4th term, and I'm actually going to erase this so we have lots of space. So we're dividing by x minus 3, so in my box goes 3. And then I have 2, and I don't have an x to the 4th term, so I'm going to put 0 in as a placeholder, then negative 1, then 3, then negative 2, then 7. So that's set up for synthetic division. So I'm going to drop the 2 down. 2 times 3 is going to give me 6. 0 plus 6 is going to give me 6. 6 times 3 is 18. Negative 1 plus 18 is 17. 17 times 3 is going to give me 51. 3 plus 51 is 54. 54 times 3 is 160. And then 160 minus 2 is 158. 158 times 3 is going to give me 474. Plus 7 is 481. So here's my remainder, and it's okay if your remainder is really big, okay? That'll happen every once in a while. And then we have x squared, x cubed, and then this one's actually going to become x to the 4th. So our coefficient with x to the 4th, so we have 2x to the 4th plus 6x cubed plus 17x squared plus 54x plus 58. So then we need to take the 481 and we need to divide it, our remainder, by what we were originally dividing by, which is x minus 3. So that's going to go on the bottom. And this whole long thing right here is our final answer for that one. Okay? Next, let's take a look at number 9. So it says that the area of a rectangle is x squared or x cubed plus 3x squared plus 4x plus 1 square inches. And then it says the width of the rectangle is x plus 1. What is the length? So what we want to do here is let's take a look. So to get the area of a rectangle, it's length times width. So my area is x cubed plus 3x squared plus 4x plus 1. And that's equal to my width, which is x plus 1, times my length. So let's go ahead and really, if we want to get the length, we need to solve for L. So what I need to do is I need to divide both sides by x plus 1. So this right here is what I need to solve in order to get my length. So I'm going to do that using synthetic division. So then I have 1, 3, 4, and 1. So let's go ahead and use synthetic division. So I drop the 1 down. 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. 3 plus negative 1 is 2. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. 4 plus negative 2 is positive 2. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. 1 plus negative 2 is negative 2. So here's our remainder, our constant, our x, and our x squared. So I'm going to have x squared plus 2x plus 2. Then my remainder is negative, so I'm going to subtract my negative off. You also could do plus a negative if you wanted to. And I was originally dividing by x plus 1, so that's what my remainder goes over. And then we want to look at our label. Our area is in square inches, which means each of our sides are going to be in inches. So then this right here represents the length of the rectangle. There we go, Miss Humbert, come on. So this one we're dealing with a triangle. So it gives us the area for the triangular sail, okay? And it tells us that the height is x minus 4. So the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. And we know the height and the area. So we have 16x to the 4th minus 60x cubed minus 28x squared plus 56x minus 32 is equal to 1/2 times the base times the height, which is x minus 4. So now, in order for us to get rid of this 1/2 on this side, we actually have to multiply both sides by 2. So then what I end up getting is the base times x minus 4 is equal to 16 times 2 is 32, x to the 4th. Negative 60 times 2 is negative 120, x cubed. Negative 28 times 2 is negative 56, x squared. 56 times 2 is going to give me 112x. And negative 32 times 2 is negative 64. So now, in order to solve for the base, we need to divide both sides by x minus 4. So this right here we can set up using long division. Synthetic division. So we're going to put a positive 4 in here because that's the opposite. Then we have 32, negative 120, negative 56, 112, and negative 64 as all of our coefficients. So for starters, we're going to take this 32 and drop it down. 32 times 4 gives me 128. Negative 120 plus 128 gives me 8. 8 times 4 is a positive 32. Negative 56 plus 32 gives me a negative 24. Negative 24 times 4 gives me a negative 96. 112 minus 96 gives me 16. 16 times 4 gives me a positive 64. So I end up getting a remainder of 0. Constant x, x squared, x cubed. So let's go ahead and write it out. So we have 32x cubed plus 8x squared minus 24x plus 16. So it tells us that the area of the rectangular sail is square meters. And so that means that the base and the height both need to be in just regular old meters. So our label for that is meters. And that concludes your note video for today. Go ahead and show me your completed note sheet when you're done. Thanks for listening.